Countdown to Halloween, featuring Gregory Miller's Dark Nights and Candlelight, 31 Tiny October Tales. Every night at exactly midnight, a new story will appear on StoryLink Radio's YouTube channel. You'll have 24 hours to listen, then it will disappear and the next one will appear. Plan to catch these each day or you'll miss one. Each story will be 2 to 13 minutes long. If you haven't already, be sure to listen to the introduction to the book right here on this channel. And now, tonight's story from Dark Nights and Candlelight, 31 Tiny October Tales. October 18th, The Passenger. Long years had passed since Brian Crane's last visit to his childhood neighborhood. Life had taken him away from it. Circumstance had kept him away from it. And time had passed quickly, as it so often does, with a sneaking, insidious relentlessness. 33 years. Where had they gone? Google Earth had brought Brian back. He'd been tinkering with it in a technology seminar, and before he knew it was searching out all the places of his youth that he could remember, finishing with his long-ago home. And there it was, the little brick and slat house. Slats now blue instead of white, shutters now white instead of blue. It looked shrunken, familiar yet strange. There had been paths behind the house, dirt trails cutting through half-wild woods and over streams, down ravines, across glades. The edge of the neighborhood had been a place of mystery, untouched save by children. And the monster. All the children had known of it, and all at one point or another had come to believe in it. Even if most had never seen it, they'd felt when it was close. And some had seen it, hunched like a dark spider in the gully where the spring water ran and disappeared in the hidden tunnels beneath the earth. When pets went missing, the children knew what had happened to them. Bones would often appear between dusk and dawn, scattered across the trails or piled by the banks of the streams. The monster had punctuated Brian's childhood like an exclamation point, a source of nightmares and midnight anxiety, mystery and strange, incommunicable excitement that had only faded when the movers came and shuttled all 18 years of him off to college and estate and town far, far away. But now, over a quarter century later, Google Earth had revealed something unexpected. Development. Bulldozers and trailers filled sinkholes and dried up streams, cleared woods and leveled hollows. Half the wild's gone, the other half about to go. That night, Brian lay wide awake next to his sleeping wife, remembering and feeling things he'd half forgotten, profoundly surprised to find in all the spinning memories and emotions, tears on his cheek. The next morning he gassed up the Corolla and drove the 370 miles back to the stomping grounds of his youth. And before he knew it, in the cool afternoon of a late October day, Brian found himself standing by a slapdash fence of yellow cordoning tape and reflective sawhorses, staring down what remained of one of the innumerable forest paths forged by children long, long ago. Seeing it, Brian experienced an odd sense of disassociation, of blending, as the present overlaid the past, and his sense of the place adapted to how it looked now. The trees less dense and looming, the path less worn and more overgrown. Kids don't go outside anymore, he thought grimly, unless for organized sports. And all that remained, hemmed in by the machines that would destroy it, as they had everything else. Breaking into a trot, Brian awkwardly vaulted the makeshift barrier. You're not 17 anymore, he thought, coming down hard and grunting. But setting foot on the gently rutted dirt lane, Brian suddenly felt even younger than that. You're still here, he murmured softly. I can feel you. All the old thrill, all the fright and dread and excitement and curiosity came rushing back, and he paused a moment to collect himself. Then he walked on, deeper into the heart of the neighborhood wilds. But now everything was marked off by red flags on wires, chalk X's slashed on boulders, and orange ribbons tied around trunks. Empty cans of Red Bull and Gatorade were strewn about, punctuated by crumpled packs of cigarettes. The old feelings wilted and faded, relegated to distant echoes of their former selves. Brian hoped he was in time. The gully, when Brian reached it, wasn't as dark or deep as he remembered. Several trees had fallen, taking their shadows with them, and silt had built up on the bank of the spring's path. And the spring water itself, running down into the cave to travel on beneath the ground, was now just a torpid trickle. He tossed aside the 2 orange cones on either side of the cave's entrance, an intrusion that in his childhood would have outraged him. But now he just felt sad. The addition was a loss. Knees popping, he knelt beside the dank hole, little more than a dark fissure in the rock. "You used to scare me," he said softly. "I had nightmares thanks to you. You were a dark star in the night skies of my childhood." He paused, rubbing his temples. "I missed the mystery," he went on. "It was worth the fear. Sometime over the years, everything became normal. Predictable. I hardly even noticed when it happened. Isn't that sad? It was probably around the time I decided you were only a figment of our collective imaginations, and I can't remember when that was either." A sudden gust of cold air, rank and moist, issued from the cave's mouth and passed across Brian's face. "But now I hope, you weren't. And if you are real, staying here much longer will destroy you. So, here's my offer. I'm parked at the end of the main trail, and my trunk is unlocked. For the next 2 hours, I'll take a walk around the old neighborhood. By the time I return, it'll be dusk, almost dark. I'll get in my car and drive home. It's a long drive. I won't get there until deep in the middle of the night. But before then, in the thick woods just a few miles from my house, where streams flow through hollows and almost no one knows, I'll stop, I'll pop the trunk and rest my eyes for a few minutes. And then I'll leave." He paused, waiting. The gust of that clammy air breathed out again, causing the follicles on his arms to rise and the back of his neck to ice. "That's my offer. Now I'm off to take my walk." Later, on the drive home, Brian sipped a large coffee, but more out of habit than a need to stay alert. The thumping and scratching and scrabbling in the trunk was more than enough to keep him wakeful. You've just heard tonight's story from Dark Nights and Candlelight, 31 Tiny October Tales from author Gregory Miller. You can get this book right now on Amazon at the on-screen link, and Kindle Unlimited users can borrow a copy of the book for free. You can learn more about Gregory Miller and his many amazing books and projects at his website, On Screen. If you have not already, be sure to listen to our event video here and visit our event website to learn all about our upcoming events. Remember to come back after midnight for our next tale. Oh, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for StoryLink Radio.